Let me ask you something. Why do highly educated, intelligent people go completely broke, while someone with no financial education quietly builds a fortune? Why does a doctor earning $50,000 a month end up with less wealth than a school janitor who never earned more than $2,000 a month? This actually happened, and the answer has nothing to do with math. It has everything to do with behavior. Welcome to Book Essence, where we unlock the essence of every book so you get the wisdom without spending weeks reading. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most important books about money ever written, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. This book will completely change how you think about wealth, greed, happiness, and financial decisions. Stay with me until the end because the final lesson of this book is the one that will stay with you forever. No one is crazy. The very first lesson Housel teaches us is this: nobody is crazy when it comes to money. Every financial decision a person makes seems perfectly reasonable to them in the moment they make it. Here is why that matters. Someone who grew up in poverty and saw their family struggle will think about money completely differently than someone who grew up in a wealthy household. Someone who lived through an economic crisis in their 20s will be terrified of the stock market for the rest of their life, even if that fear costs them enormous wealth over time. Someone who grew up in a stable, growing economy will take financial risks that seem completely reckless to others, because to them, the world has always rewarded risk. Neither person is wrong. Neither person is crazy. They are both responding perfectly rationally to the unique experiences they have lived. This is the foundation of the entire book. Money decisions are not made on spreadsheets. They are made at the dinner table. They are made in moments of fear and hope. They are made by human beings with emotions, memories, and personal histories. The sooner you understand this, the better your own financial decisions will become. Here is a truth that makes most people uncomfortable. Luck plays a massive role in financial success. So does risk. Housel tells us about two sides of the same coin. Bill Gates went to one of the only high schools in the entire world that had a computer in 1968. The odds of that? About 1 in a million. His success was built on extraordinary talent, absolutely, but it was also built on extraordinary luck. Now, here is the dangerous part. When we see someone wildly successful, we study everything they did and try to copy it. But we cannot copy their luck, and without that same luck, the same actions produce very different results. The same is true with failure. When someone goes bankrupt or loses everything, we often say they were foolish, reckless, or made bad decisions. But sometimes they were simply unlucky. The same decisions that destroyed them would have made someone else extremely wealthy in slightly different circumstances. Housel's lesson here is powerful. Be careful who you admire, be careful who you judge, and be careful about which stories you copy, because you can never fully separate skill from luck. The power of never having enough. There is a dangerous financial trap that destroys more lives than any market crash ever could. Housel calls it never having enough. There's a famous story about two writers at a party. One points to their billionaire host and says, "He has more money than you will ever earn in your lifetime." The other writer smiles and says, "Yes, but I have something he will never have: enough." The inability to feel satisfied is one of the most dangerous financial diseases. Housel tells us about people who had everything: wealth, fame, reputation, and then risked it all chasing just a little more. Some went to prison, some lost everything overnight, all because they could not stop at enough. The lesson is not that ambition is bad. The lesson is that knowing your enough, your personal finish line, is one of the most important financial skills you can develop. Enough doesn't mean the least you can have. It means recognizing when you have reached the point where adding more risk to your life is not worth what you might gain. Ask yourself right now, what is my enough? If you can't answer that question, you are already in danger. Compounding, the real magic. Here is the most misunderstood concept in all of personal finance: compounding. Most people know what compounding is, very few people truly feel it. Housel points out something extraordinary about Warren Buffett, one of the richest people in human history. Warren Buffett's net worth is approximately $100 billion, but here's what almost nobody talks about. $97 billion of those dollars were earned after his 50th birthday. He started investing at 10 years old. He became a millionaire at 30. He became a billionaire at 50. And then the real magic happened. Not because he got smarter after 50, not because the market got better, but simply because compounding had more time to work. Housel makes a brilliant point here. Buffett is not just the world's greatest investor, he's also the world's greatest investor who has also been investing for an extraordinarily long time. If he had started at 30 and retired at 60, almost nobody would have heard of him. The lesson is devastating in simplicity. Start early, stay consistent, do not stop. Time is the ingredient that turns ordinary savings into extraordinary wealth, and almost nobody is patient enough to let it work. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Housel draws a powerful distinction that most financial books completely ignore. Getting wealthy and staying wealthy are two completely different skills. Getting wealthy requires optimism, risk-taking, and bold action. You have to believe things will go up. You have to take chances. You have to be aggressive. Staying wealthy requires almost the opposite. It requires humility, fear, and deep respect for the possibility of losing everything. History is full of people who got rich and then lost it all because they used the same aggressive, risk-taking behavior to keep their wealth that they used to build it. Housel says the single most important financial skill is not getting rich, it's surviving. Surviving means never putting yourself in a position where a single bad event can destroy you completely. He calls this having room for error or a margin of safety. You save more than you think you need. You take less risk than you think you can afford. You plan for things to go wrong even when everything feels perfect. Because in financial life, things always go wrong eventually. The question is not if, it's when. And when that moment comes, the people who survive are the ones who planned for it. Freedom, the real goal. Here is the most important chapter in the entire book. Housel argues that the highest form of wealth is not a number in a bank account. It's something far more valuable. It's freedom. Freedom to wake up every morning and decide how you spend your day. Freedom to say no to work you hate. Freedom to say yes to opportunities you love. Freedom to spend time with the people who matter most to you. Research consistently shows that once basic needs are met, more money doesn't make people significantly happier. But control over your time, that's one of the strongest predictors of happiness across all income levels. The goal of building wealth should not be to buy a bigger house or a more expensive car. The real goal is to buy back your time, to reach the point where money works for you instead of you working for money. Housel writes, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want, that's the ultimate return on investment. Money is not the end goal, freedom is, and money, managed wisely, is simply the tool to get there. Let's bring together the most powerful lessons from the psychology of money. 1. Nobody is crazy. Every financial decision makes sense to the person making it based on their unique life experiences. 2. Luck and risk are powerful forces. Be humble about success and compassionate about failure. 3. Define your enough. Without a finish line, you'll keep running until you fall. 4. Compounding is magic, but only if you give it enough time. Start now, never stop. 5. Getting rich and staying rich are different skills. Surviving is the most underrated financial strategy. 6. The real goal of money is freedom, control over your time and your life. Morgan Housel ends his book with a thought that will stay with me forever. Managing money well has little to do with how smart you are and everything to do with how you behave. Behavior beats intelligence every single time. That's the essence of the psychology of money, and that's what we do here at Book Essence. We take the world's most powerful books and unlock their wisdom so you can start applying it to your life today. If this video brought you value, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear this. Every week on Book Essence, a new book, a new lesson, a new chance to grow. Until next time, keep reading, keep growing, and keep unlocking your essence. See you in the next one.